there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I'll be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 168. This week's topic is inspired by my 2 current cohorts of students with the Highway Construction Careers training programs at South Suburban College and Kankakee Community College. And a shout out to them, I know at least a few of them subscribed to my podcast. I spent a lot of time with these groups of students in the last few weeks. We start out each 12-week program with 2 4-hour sessions each of time management and stress management in their first week. For obvious reasons, right? So we all need good time and stress management strategies, but we especially need them when taking on what is essentially an extra full-time job for 12 weeks, like my students do. And I was inspired by this week's students to add in content to our sessions about creating their own lists of self-care tools. And they ran with it, so thanks to everybody. In this month of February, when we celebrate love in all forms for Valentine's Day, and when we all might need a little boost as winter drags on, let's talk about how to love ourselves with some self-care. I am proud to say that I have learned a few things about self-care. The things I want us to know, all of us, including me, for optimal functioning, bodies and minds need some things. Rest, consistently met needs, sleep, of course, but also acts of self-care. Since self-care activities are very personal choices, we each need our own list of ways to take care of ourselves, and many tasks or activities done with intention and love can be considered self-care. Back in December, I provided a professional development seminar on stress management for the holidays, and I shared with my participants a PDF list of self-care ideas that I had purchased as suggestions for managing their stress. And you need to know that felt embarrassing for me to say, by the way, that I outsourced coming up with a list of 100 good self-care ideas. I'm going to be very honest. I always am. But this one feels a little rougher for me because I used to think I was terrible at self-care. So yes, for $6 or $7, I purchased a list of self-care ideas to share with that group. Here's the learning though for me. First, I'm not embarrassed anymore to say that to you, my readers and listeners, that I purchased a list. And second, as I reviewed the list and also shared it, I realized that I'm good at self-care because we decide for ourselves what self-care is for us. In the most basic definition, self-care is the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. I like this statement too from a University of Florida blog. Self-care means checking in with yourself and doing things that support your physical, emotional, mental, and even spiritual health. In those terms, then, I am proud to say I'm really good at self-care. I just haven't always resonated with what our culture suggests as self-care activities. And for example, for me, this past week, self-care was filling my gas tank. Let me set it up for you. In class, my students and I talked about what they could add to their routines to help them succeed in their 12-week program. And one student identified that they planned to fill up their gas tank on Sundays to be ready for the week to come, which is brilliant, right? Great idea. After class that day, as I was driving to my next activity, I realized that I could make my life easier too for the week by filling up my gas tank then. I mean, I still had half a tank, but knowing that I had 2 long commutes coming up and not a lot of extra time between appointments, I realized I would have less to worry about if I just filled up that afternoon. And so I did. That may sound like an errand. It may not sound very exciting or special, but taking care of that task for myself so I would have less to worry about was an act of self-care, of self-love. And I reminded myself of that act of love and care multiple times over the next few days when I wasn't worrying. I made sure to let my student know that she had inspired me and why. I wanted to acknowledge that filling up her gas tank on a Sunday is exactly what self-care could be, right? Self-love, taking care of ourselves. As we worked on time management and stress management topics, I asked my students to get specific. We didn't just talk about self-care, we shared activities that work for us. And since we can learn from other people's ideas too, I'm so glad that we could listen to and learn from each other that day. To get us started, I asked if anyone liked to listen to music. And that idea resonated with many. Music is universal, it's readily available, it is personalizable, and it's low cost or no cost. We discussed what was relaxing or energizing for them, making sure that the music we're choosing to make ourselves happy doesn't make us angry or upset. I mentioned that I have my morning shower playlist on Spotify that I play, well, you can guess, during my morning shower. It's a list of songs that I love from artists that I love that are uplifting and upbeat, and I actually listen to it at other times too. So, for example, what are the songs you could put on your own playlist? Are there songs you could put together to uplift you, motivate you, improve your mood, or make you happy? Another example, a number of students mentioned they like to work out or play sports to take care of themselves. They always feel better after they work out, and some of them work out with friends. Here is the partial list of self-care activities my students identified in our discussion. Listening to music, and specifically uplifting music, as I've already mentioned. Going to the gym or exercising, because physical activity is great for us physically and mentally. Taking a drive at night and giving ourselves time to think. Playing sports, either solo sports or with friends. Listening to favorite podcasts. Drawing. Getting a haircut, I loved that one. Petting a pet, like a dog or a cat. And even just taking a shower. So what's on your list? And I mean it when I say make a list. When you need the ideas for self-care, you may already be feeling tired or stressed or depleted. So eliminating the need to think about what will make things better for you is already an act of self-love. And maybe you want to break down your list into, free or low-cost options, or maybe how long the activity takes, or if it's a solo activity or requires a friend. Whatever you want to do to personalize that list, just make the list. Perhaps you've noticed, and so have I, your list will be very personal, which was one of my earlier points, right? And here's the last one. What we also talk about in time management and stress management is intention. And here's the good news. You and I can elevate anything. I mean, everything, really, if we do it with intention and purpose and love. And that includes acts of self-care. In a recent episode, I mentioned updating my routines and drinking a big glass of water at 6 a.m. every day. I've been trying to do that, and it's actually working out pretty well. And I stop for a moment when I'm doing it to remind me of my intention, that drinking this water will help me feel good all day. And that is like a great big self-hug. Another example is last week's topic of menu planning. Batch cooking meals for the week on a Sunday night is an act of self-care for me. Doing so makes my life easier for the week. It gives me healthy and nourishing food, takes care of me so I can continue to show up for everyone else. Cooking becomes elevated with intention and love in my heart. And for me, that counts as self-care. If you are figuring out your own list, answer this question for yourself. I always feel better or happy after I fill in the blank here. After I work out. After I call my friend or my mom or my sister-in-law or my kids. After I reconnect for a few minutes with my significant other. After I take a nap. After I get a good night's sleep. I always feel better or happy after I take a walk or work out or meditate. What is on your list? And I really want you to answer that question for yourselves. So here are some of the things that make my list. I always feel better after listening to music, like my morning shower playlist. Singing or playing my flute. Actually, silence also makes me happy. When you need it, right? Taking myself out for coffee. Being outside in nature, meditating, being with my husband and my kids, acts of service, reading, coloring. So I have mandala and Celtic pattern coloring books. I'm not creative in that way, but it just makes me happy. It's very soothing. And I have friends who post really motivational things on their Facebook pages. So going out specifically to find those motivational messages, those things make me happy. I have other self-care supports as well. In addition to self-care and activities like meal planning that I mentioned. For example, I'm in counseling. Are you? It's one of the first 2 suggestions I was given when I received my ADHD diagnosis, and it's good. I also get a massage and chiropractic adjustment once a month, and I'm getting better at saying no to unrealistic requests or expectations. And all of those things for me count as self-care as well. To recap, self-care means checking in with yourself and doing things that support your physical, emotional, mental, and even spiritual health. Our brains and bodies need self-care activities for optimal functioning. Self-care activities vary from person to person, and since we may already be tired or depleted when we think about how to take care of ourselves, it benefits us to have our personal list of activities ready. And finally, many tasks or activities done with intention and love can be considered self-care. This week, I encourage you to make your list. I love a good list. Identify your activities for yourself, make the list, and be ready to reach for it regularly. Not just when you're feeling low, but consistently to take good care of yourself. Support around getting important things done, including self-care, is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.